And when those happen, it means those storms are strong enough to develop those funnel clouds, strong enough to develop tornadoes that do touch down. We encourage you to seek shelter as soon as possible in those scenarios. Let's take a look at the current conditions in through Vancouver. 24. Finally, some of that low pressure able to move in as that ridge breaks down, passes to the east. Still warm conditions, warm and dry in through the prairies. And that active weather, pretty much situated over top of central to southwestern Ontario, Quebec, and the eastern provinces. Taking a look at our thunderstorm watch and warning right now, still 2 places in effect. In this scenario, it means those storms imminent or occurring with that lightning, hail potential, gusty winds, and this is one of those scenarios you want to seek shelter immediately. If you are planning on heading out on the roads and you are passing through these areas, we encourage you not to do so quite yet, or even if you know someone on the roads, encourage them to seek shelter as soon as possible, because they really are packing a punch, as you saw in that visual. In Leamington earlier, we did see a funnel cloud attached to that, and even through Hawkesville, confirmed 1 touchdown. Environment Canada will continue to investigate that to see how strong it was. As the radar passes through, it will be picking up the energy that has been in place. Stay in place, and when we do have thunderstorms, you need 3 things. You need the moisture, you need the lift, and you need the trigger. And some of those storms, that trigger will be that atmospheric energy. Earlier in today, we were seeing through Val-d'Or, Quebec, even in through Fredericton and parts of Kingstown in Nova Scotia, we were seeing some thunderstorm warnings in place. Those have since dropped. We still do have some rain, and we still will see that energy through our weekend. Saturday, the rain event will be for Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. Sunday for Newfoundland. Speaking of Saturday, let's take a look at what Ontario and southern Quebec are dealing with, because yeah, those storms are not over after your Friday. They will maintain isolated severe in the Ottawa Valley, Montreal as well, getting into that gusty winds, heavy downpours of rain possible, and that means flash flooding is definitely a possibility as well. You want to be careful when you are out on the roads in these conditions. This is one of those scenarios you really want to have that Weather Network app with you, because it'll continue to update you if you can't be online watching us. Now that boundary continues to sink in the prairies and bringing the instability with it. Small hail, heavy rainfall for your Friday. We've since seen some of these cells along the Rockies ease off a little bit. That lift playing into the foothills, bringing us that hail potential for sure. And this is a look at the radar. Look at that, the spin with this upper low that continues to drop down. Now in through the East Coast, this is for sure part of our weather story. Smoke still in place, causing a special air quality statement. We encourage you to change some of your events if you are outside to inside, because it's been so hard to breathe. But look at this. Finally, we are going to have a change. A southwesterly flow is going to push those smoke conditions out of the region. Our active weather coverage continues after this. We've seen elements in play, like converging winds, and that's what we saw earlier. This tornado warning is a 3-hour ago story within the last couple of hours. That has since dropped, but still we do have thunderstorm warnings in place for places like Elmira, Kitchener, and it has dropped off for Guelph, but Cambridge still in that. Amanda Weldon along with you. Let's take a look at the current conditions across the country. We're still seeing really warm, dry conditions in through Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Calgary, 25 degrees. Low pressure finally able to move in to the west coast as that ridge breaks down, but the activity and the light show, that's in Ontario, Quebec, and soon the Maritimes. This is what we're looking at. This is our risk map from Environment Canada. Thunderstorm warnings in place. Again, we watch before we warn, and when it's a warning, it is imminent or occurring. Taking a closer look at the radar, still some strong cells tracking to the east of Ider. You know someone who is even at an outdoor festival like Boots and Hearts in Burles Creek. You're going to want to encourage them to go inside their cars as soon as possible. Hopefully they are already there, because we have continued to see lightning on these systems tracking to the east with these cells. Still a lot of energy in place as well. We will continue to see that through this evening and even into our Saturday. But that's going to track to the east because our isolated severe area, which you'll see very shortly, is in through the Ottawa Valley. Now that energy plays into the risk where we get these cells active when there's moisture, lift, and a trigger. And we did see severe thunderstorm watches and warnings for New Brunswick and Quebec earlier, and even some parts in through Nova Scotia. That's going to continue to be part of your story for the Maritimes for Saturday. And this is our thunderstorm risk map for Saturday in through Ontario and Quebec. And I mentioned the Ottawa Valley. And with that, main threats, strong winds, small hail, heavy downpours of rain. Definitely have been seeing that with these systems as they continue to move. And for the prairies as well, a boundary continuing to sink, and that is bringing instability in the atmosphere and also some upper level instability as well. Those foothills playing into the lift factor and the hail factor, but right now the main story has been in through the south of Saskatchewan and Alberta as that upper level trough continues to spin and bring us that instability. Well, we will talk about this when we come back because our active weather coverage continues following your local forecast wherever you are. So glad you could join us. Amanda Weldon filling in for Michelle Mackey. Now, no surprise here, the province of BC still in a state of emergency. So when it comes to fire bans, yeah, they're still in place. Chrissy Van reports. Deb Mediachka has more for us on things like this that are being banned through drier parts of the prairies and BC. Thanks so much, Deb. Now, Nathan Coleman has this report on traditional trapping. He's going to share more with us. Thanks so much, Nate. Now we are going to continue to talk about this ridge breaking down on the west, tracking through the prairies. Those temperatures are going to come down, and then activity through Ontario. But for more stories, head over to theweathernetwork.com. Hey, you finally made it. It is Friday. The weekend is upon us, and so is some exciting news. The Perseid meteor shower will also be meeting our skies. And really great stuff, and you can get your hands on those photos. We'll have more details on the good and the bad to do with being a sky watcher for this event. And Chrissy Van has some more details on us why you want to make the Yukon part of your travel bucket list. Coming up after your local forecast, we'll take it back with Chrissy with no limits. Stay with us. The federal government has imposed large speed limits on large ships in through the Gulf of the St. Lawrence today. Just in the last few months, 12 whales have been found dead, and this effort is all to save the North Atlantic right whale. Shayna Luck has the story. If you're like me in the spring and the fall, you are reaching for the tissue box. Well, Rachel Schutzen has a quick tip how local honey could help with your allergies. After your local forecast, we'll celebrate Canada 150 with Chris Sinclair.